Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Rudy Pean here with RCJ Tax and Credit Repair Services. Today we're going to go over a few things to make sure that you guys don't rush and file your taxes and cause any delays. This year in 2022, tax filing is a little bit different. As you guys know, or if you don't, the IRS was giving people an advance on the child tax credit, so we want to make sure that that's filed this year accordingly. So the first thing I want to make sure is, why shouldn't I file with my last paycheck stub? So a lot of guys and females come to me, they're married filing joint or single filers, and they say, hey, look, I've got my last paycheck stub, but I haven't received my W-2 yet. I want to go ahead and file my taxes. Well, unfortunately, two things are missing. One, those final numbers on your last paycheck stub aren't accurate. Secondly, your last paycheck stub does not qualify you to e-file because it's missing what's called an EIN number. Okay, and that EIN number essentially means that that is attached to the company you work for, and they send that full report to the IRS. So if you file your taxes with your last paycheck stub and what your employer sent to the IRS doesn't match your tax filing, that's going to cause a delay in your taxes and actually can affect your taxes whether your refund is a little bit higher or a little bit lower. So number one rule of thumb, do not file your taxes with your last paycheck stub. Do not file your taxes for a cash advance with your last paycheck stub. Anybody that tells you that is not following the guidelines of the IRS. Another thing that we should focus on is potentially what could slow down your processing for your 2022 refund. And the biggest thing is missing a tax form. Okay, so you don't want to rush and e-file your return. A tax form is missing, then your preparer is going to go ahead and get a letter in the mail from the IRS, and they have to deal with what's called an amendment. And what an amendment is, you have to now fix what was missing and go back in again and file that to the IRS. And that's one thing that can delay your tax return from being processed within that 14 to 21 business days that the IRS has to issue your refund. A new form this year is 8812. And what that form is, again, is for the child tax credit. So the last 6 months of 2021, the IRS was issuing out advances to some tax filers that did not opt out of getting the advance for the child tax credit. So what you have to do this year is you have to look out for your 8812 form. It's going to give you the total number that the IRS has issued you out in advance and the amount of kids that were on your return, and that has to be reported on your 2022 tax filing. If you file your return and you got a child tax credit last year in 2021 and you don't file it, that will delay your taxes. Again, the goal is to not delay your taxes and file accordingly with no missing forms. Of course, you want to make sure you verify your identity. So the biggest thing that's happening right now is identity theft. And what the IRS is doing is, like most companies should be doing, is transitioning with technology. So now they have a website, and we'll make sure we have this website below this YouTube video that actually shows you how to go in and verify your identity with the IRS. And the goal for that process is to mitigate and bring down the risk of your identity being stolen by in the black market. Okay. The biggest thing you want to look out for this year, guys, is ghost preparers. Okay, ghost preparers are people that will help you with your tax filing without what's called a P10. A P10 allows you to charge somebody to file their taxes and prepare it. So our firm right now, obviously we all have P10s. All of my preparers have P10s, and I also have what's called an ERO, which allows me to transmit or e-file clients' tax returns for them at a service fee. A ghost preparer does not have a P10, and that is 100% illegal. They cannot process your return for you, and they cannot charge you for that return. If they do that and you or them are caught, that can cause you to either get large penalties from the IRS, potentially jail time, and if you have dependents, you can actually lose the earned income credit and child tax credit for those kids until they're 24 years old, and you can no longer claim them again on your taxes. So ghost preparers, if you don't know what that means and somebody approaches you to do their taxes, all you have to ask them is, what's your P10 number? Okay? And then, so again, now we're talking about red flags to look out for when it comes to your tax guy or your tax person or your tax preparer. And the biggest red flag that I always see is when I get new clients and they come to me and I'm asking them for their most recent tax filing. Okay? And if they can't get that from the person that filed it the previous year, that's a red flag, because that means they may have charged you a higher fee, or they probably put something on your return to get you a higher refund, and they don't want you knowing about it. For us, we don't even charge clients for that. That's your documentation. We give it to you accordingly as soon as your taxes are e-filed and accepted by the IRS. Some clients that have been with me for years don't even ask for it, because usually for your 1040 forms, you need it when you're gonna apply for a student loan, or you're going to apply for FAFSA, or you're looking to get a home and the lender's gonna ask you for your last 2 years of your 1040 tax forms. So we keep that here in the office safe on our software. But again, any client calls me and I'm in the office or I have my laptop with me, I stop what I'm doing and I send it to them. So a red flag for me, I feel like, is when somebody's gonna charge you for your legal documentation, or they're taking a long time to follow up with you to get those documentations because they're hiding something from you. Now, the last thing we're gonna talk about today is what are credits and what are write-offs / deductions. And the short version of that is credits are dollar for dollar. The easy example about that most people know is the earned income credit. And that's the credit that you get for your dependents based on your filing status and also on your income level. Okay, so if you're over the tax bracket, then your IRS will give you a little bit less on the earned income credit. So that's the difference in regards to the credits and the write-offs. The credits are dollar for dollar. So if you meet the full requirement for the credit, you'll receive that. Now, write-offs and deductions are the opposite of that. And these are usually for business owners. And what happens is this. Let's just say hypothetically, a business owner comes to me and they made $100,000 in the tax year. And they have write-offs that qualify them to be put on their taxes. And let's just say those write-offs come up to $50,000. So now they made $100,000, but to make $100K, they spent about $50K. And that could be a number of things: advertising costs, overhead costs, rent costs, supply costs, and the list goes on of different deductions and write-offs. But let's just say they made 100, it cost them 50, and then now their net profit is $50,000. So they're not getting the money they spent back. It brings their tax liability down, and then now they're paying $50,000 in tax liability instead of $100,000. Our last video that we did, we discussed that in regards to documentation being very important to have as a business owner when it comes to filing your taxes. So again, guys, important things that we need to make sure we have on your tax filing, so that way your taxes are not delayed. And make sure you look out for ghost preparers. And the biggest red flag from the person that filed your taxes last year is if you call them up and you ask for your 1040 forms, you can't receive it. Again, my name is Rudy Pean with RCJ Tax and Credit Repair Services. If you would like my firm to help you out, be sure to call this number below, or if not, be sure to email us at this email below, and we'll go ahead and service you. If you like this video and you want to make sure you stay up to date with our information, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next video.